Oliver, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Jerusha.
Now, we know, and we've certainly been reading, that 3 countries have been added to the EU's red list, and it has implications for business in Africa. But I want you to kick us off by explaining what is this red list, the European Union's red list, and what does it involve?
Okay, so red countries, not to be too alarmed or anything, it's not a big deal. Red countries are simply a categorization of 3 groups of countries: red, green, and white. Green being the sort of lower risk countries, white being sort of in between, and red countries being countries where they deem to see a higher risk for whatever reason. The criterias for them to dictate these countries are unknown to me. But what these red countries do, of which there are about 8 in Africa currently, they dictate a set of procedures that we need to comply with in regards to our screening methods and controls that we need to conduct on goods travelling directly out of those red countries to Europe or via other white and green countries. And that includes screening methods such as explosive trace detection machines. So when you've been through an airport, you might have been swabbed and put through a machine. We use those machines across our key points in Africa. Also, second mandatory screening would be either a dual view X-ray machine, which is these big X-ray machines, but also sniffing dogs for both prohibited substances, but also for other things that we don't want on aircraft. So it's really about a list of countries where we have defined procedures we must follow, and then we can fly directly into Europe with these goods from those countries.
Out of interest, is South Africa red or green or white? We obviously know we're not on the list of the
South
8
Africa
red.
is a white country.
Yay!
Yeah.
Good for us.
So in terms of this categorization, but obviously what we tend to do is actually apply these procedures much further and beyond just defined areas. What you find actually is with the regulations that come out of Europe, come out of America, come out of any other places, they sort of define the standard set anyway for transporting goods around the world. And as a company like DHL, you want to apply as standard procedures as you can across all these facilities, rather than just be specific. I mean, we really try and aspire to have these sort of controls in every facility, so that we don't have to differentiate either the country, don't have to make anyone feel bad, but simply making sure it's as secure as possible. Sudan,
South Sudan, and Djibouti have been added onto this list. Now, this would obviously have implications for business in Africa. If I am a South African business owner who needs to get either a good or service to the country or needs to get something out of this country, I'm going to have to get up to date on these regulations. So where do I go? How do I figure this out?
Yeah. So first of all, I think just clear to say that it like all these things, it shouldn't affect trade. I mean, the world keeps turning, trade keeps moving, and I don't think anyone should be deeply concerned about moving goods at all. That's not the issue. The issue is more what we're trying to promote is that people who do ship internationally and even by air is that they need to be aware of some of the protocols, some of the controls and the processes that their goods will go through. Meaning that they need to understand how to present their goods, they need to understand how the goods are described, and if there are certain goods that require more restrictions, there's certain paperwork required to go with them. So it's really about the knowledge of the international movement of the goods, and please don't stop shipping, that's critical. But it's really about sort of being aware so that we can avoid them being disappointed when things take a little longer because we have to apply certain procedures, protocols, or destination may or certain points in transit may require more controls on those goods. That's all. So no, don't stop shipping. Absolutely not. In fact, Africa's we're doing well in Africa, and it's important that we really keep the goods moving. But we need to move them safely for the people involved, for the assets that are moving them, for the whole network, and for everyone who be exposed to these. Yeah, for sure.